Okay, I just want to start off by saying that people getting shot or stabbed in the stomach and living is starting to make it seem like Qui-Gon got robbed. What, the hospitals in Naboo?
For the planet of Naboo.
Sorry, Naboo. Don't have stabbed in the stomach care? Some bullshit. Well, a lot is riding on this show for Disney, and with all the ad space they've been buying up to try to get us to watch it, I think they know it. Seriously, with the strike going strong, there is going to be a serious break in content after Christmas, so we all better hope that Starfield is like really good or we're going to find ourselves pretty darn bored.
I could play this game forever.
So here's the question that needs to be answered. Is the show any good? My answer? Honestly, I don't know yet. Let me explain by starting with what I like. I've made no bones about it in my previous videos or comment sections, but outside of the original trilogy, Rebels is my absolute favorite Star Wars property. Ahsoka definitely has that feel. Lothal looks awesome, and Rosario Dawson did a pretty darn good job at portraying Ahsoka in these first 2 episodes. The sets look nice and the CGI is pretty good when it needs to be. I think the new villains were absolutely awesome, and honestly, I like Ray Stevenson's Balin a lot. That was to be expected though, because he was so great in that HBO show Rome. I felt that going in, he would be one of the stronger aspects of the series. No matter what happens, Ray Stevenson will certainly be missed. Also, despite my worries, Mary Elizabeth Winstead is doing shockingly well as Hera. The trailers didn't do her justice at all, because I think she actually did her homework. Her relationship with Chopper, her cocksure attitude, her banter while she flies, and her maternal nature towards Sabine, I mean, it's all there, and I was pleasantly surprised. I can admit when I'm wrong. So far, Hera is doing well. I also love how the show is talking about Ezra a lot. I know not everyone watching the show knows or cares about Ezra, but if you're a Rebels fan like I am, you know that there shouldn't be anything more important than finding him. Ezra's journey with Kanan has made his character so important that he's the only one left that can save the Star Wars franchise going forward, at least in my mind. But more on that in a minute.
Don't ruin this for me!
I'm just happy that they aren't making the show about Thrawn and the strong female characters and ditching Ezra because most people watching the show never watched Rebels. Now, the fight scenes need some work, but they really are starting to get better. Well, maybe not this one, but Ahsoka's fight scenes were good. Look, it's a far cry from The Last Jedi where Rey and Kylo are fighting like 2 3-year-olds who just got their lightsabers for Christmas. It at least feels like there's more choreography this time. I also like the few guest star touches, and definitely like that Lothal has adopted a Spectre call sign for all of their pilots. Lothcats are awesome, and I love that the mural didn't change from the show. Hu Yang being back is definitely awesome for us Clone Wars fans. The episodes with the younglings getting their lightsabers are amongst my favorites in the whole series. There's a lot to really like about this show, and there's a lot to really like specifically for Rebels fans. I know that's a double-edged sword because newcomers will feel a little bit alienated, but as a huge Rebels fan, I genuinely appreciate it. Filoni didn't leave us behind to tell a story to only appeal to the new audience. Also, as a side note, I actually like this word crawl. It's not completely Star Wars, but it really is a nice touch. It's not all rainbows and sunshine, however. While I appreciate so much what's being done for the Rebels fans, there are a few nagging factors that might be problematic later in the show if they continue. Sabine is actually my least favorite aspect of the entire show, and she's a rather big part of it. I saw a few times when I really liked her character, or that maybe something special seemed to be peering through, but for the most part, she feels more like a Season 1 Rebel Sabine, rather than a Sabine that is post-Season 4. Sabine has already gone through a journey of self-growth, and it seems she's regressed. In that regard, it's the same song and dance like all the other shows and movies. Reverse the growth of the character and destroy what happened previously for the sake of the new content. I just don't dig that at all. Natasha Liu Bordezzo, hopefully I said that right, is serviceable for now, but far from the standout character that the sycophants of the woman power media made her out to be. I also don't like Diana Lee Inosanto's Morgan. I just don't get this character at all. She's bland and hardly imposing as a villain. Kinda makes me wish that Orinda Price had survived because she would have made a formidable villain for the show. Further, I feel that Star Wars is kind of retconning their own content in real time lately. I mean, did I miss the part where she's a Night Sister? These powers might have helped her out in that Mandalorian Season 2 fight. Anyway, not my favorite. As a small side note, I want to mention that this line from Ezra kind of bothers me.
We're not really family, but you're like a sister to me.
I know, and I've even argued in the past, that Jedi with attachments are dangerous, but Rebels definitely never shied away from Ezra being romantically interested in Sabine. This kind of feels like they're trying to sweep that under the rug right away. I really don't like that. Alright, now let's talk about the two very big elephants in the room. Yes, this show has a lot of woman power, but it never feels like they're getting all in your face about it.
Luck is for dudes!
It's obvious but not obnoxious yet. Something to know, and it's the reality of the Rebel situation, is that Ezra is gone, Kanan is dead, and Zeb is basically too expensive to use every episode. These are the people that are left. so it kind of makes sense that they're there. But that doesn't mean that there won't be girl boss moments to ruin the show. Nothing overt yet, but I do have a feeling that some of it's coming. And finally, Sabine is not a f***ing Jedi. This is probably the most nagging issue in the show that has the most potential to ruin it. Sabine has never shown an aptitude for using the Force, and she certainly wouldn't just suddenly develop it in her 20s. Nothing in Star Wars movies or shows would indicate that a human could do that without some kind of lineage. Being good with a lightsaber isn't just sword fighting, but that a Jedi can slightly see into the future. In this regard, Sabine would lose all of these fights every time, so the training would be lost on her. Not everyone can be a Jedi, and this show seems to be changing that for the sake of using an all-female cast. It just seems weird that Ahsoka's Padawan wouldn't be a 10 to 13-year-old Jacen Syndulla rather than Sabine. I mean, think about it. What would have been more balanced than a male master and a female apprentice on the dark side, and a female master and a male apprentice on the light side? If gender has to be part of the discussion, what is more balanced than that? Sabine is a great character from Rebels, don't get me wrong, but Ahsoka just wouldn't have chosen her as an apprentice. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, and maybe Filoni will have this great explanation later on in the show, but for now, it's the big nagging problem that could ruin it for fans. Remember, you can have all the casual viewers you want to watch your shows and movies, but it's the fans that keep the shows going for years by buying merch and rewatching every episode over and over again. Filoni, unfortunately for him, has to win us back after what Disney's done. One last point that I find very interesting. Years ago, my fellow Star Wars nerd friends and I were discussing ways to fix things in Star Wars, and one of the solutions that we came up with is to make Thrawn the villain of the franchise, Ezra the new hero of the franchise, and to take the main story to Chaos Space or to a completely different galaxy altogether, and get as far away from the sequel trilogy as they can. This show seems to be toying around with that very idea, and that at least is very promising. And let's hope that Filoni still has the magic in the episodes to come. I'm sure that there will be mixtures of "it's the greatest thing ever" and "it's the worst thing ever" videos released in the coming days, but I want to take a more tempered approach. I'll leave you with this. I'm hopeful. And I think this show, unlike all the others, has the potential to fix a lot. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.